I just want to go over my pre-market game plan going into tomorrow, and then I'll do a session recap of today. So as always, let's keep this quick, clean, and easy. Hope everyone started the week off good, green, and well. Go check out that live trading session, and I did a trade recap of the trade that I took today on Tesla. A lot of education on both of those videos, so check those out. It'll help going into tomorrow. So as we know, we're still waiting for this overall market to pull back. You can kind of see, SPY's just starting to consolidate a little bit. The last 3 days, we've been sitting between 685 and 679, right? So I broke this down last week. If you're looking to trade the SPY and the Qs, you're bullish buyers, you're not looking to short these names. Not a coincidence. I broke this down last week. We pulled back into the previous day low. Buyer stepped up aggressively. Today, we pull back into the previous day low. Buyer step up aggressively. That's no coincidence. The trend is your friend. That's a very real thing. Now, what are we being patient for? I've already broke this down. Give you a visual. This market, we still need that. That is our A plus long. You can clearly see that is like the beautiful dip buy right there. So a lot of gaps to fill. You can see, technically speaking, that's a gap. And then we still have this gap. And then what do? We broke out here, but we never got that retest. So just be patient on this name, on SPY. If you're looking to trade it, right, you're just looking to go long off of 685.25, targeting all-time highs, or you're looking for a pullback long off this 679. I like it because not only is it a 4-hour support level, it's also a previous day low. So that's a good confluence there if you want to take that. And of course, we are waiting for that. So coming into today, start of market open. I was intrigued by this. I wanted that. I wanted, this thing to pull back deeper. I didn't want us to, have another gap and go type of day or continuation type of day. So I'm sorry if I'm a party pooper and you got some long positions, but I'm still hoping, this thing pulls back. So 4 days in a row, we've closed red on the daily, but we're pretty much just consolidating. You can see here, doing nothing. And tomorrow, if we open up in between the 685 and the 679, now that's 4 days of now just forming a channel and sitting between those two key levels. So be patient here. Like I said, you don't really want to go long up here because you're already near all-time highs. You're entering late to the party. So if you really do want to trade this aim, just look for a long off this 679.85, and then obviously if we fall under that, your hands off. Same thing here with the Qs. Starting to form a channel. That's expected. We gapped up very high, followed up by 2 to 3 bullish continuation days. I mean, this day, this day, this day, and that day, just straight upside. So that's no surprise. We're starting to consolidate a little bit in here. I'm not surprised about that. So same thing. If you're looking to take a trade on the Qs, you're looking for pullback long. So you can look for a pullback long off this previous day low. You can look for a break and retest off the all-time high, which is also pretty much a correlation with the previous day high, but you're entering late to the party. But as we know, this is what we're waiting for. I mean, that is textbook. That's what we're waiting for. So be patient, on the SPY and the Qs. Let this thing do its thing. It's consolidating. The SPY is consolidating. It's sitting sideways. What do I always say? If we open up in between the previous day high and the previous day low, technically speaking, we are not moving higher or lower. So this thing is just sitting in a range as of now. You can clearly see here. How do you know when something's like really consolidating? When we're sitting in between, I'll give you a visual. We're sitting in between the previous day high, the previous day low, the pre-market high, and the pre-market low. Right? There's nothing going on there. So just like I said on the SPY, I was hoping this thing will pull back more. I'm hoping we do. You can clearly see this 626 is holding fairly well at support. You can clearly see. So if we can get under that, I hope we can just melt to the downside. Today we gapped up. I'm very happy today was a pullback type of day because I did not want this thing to have another gap and go continuation. So hopefully, we can fill under this. That'll be very healthy for the market. Don't let that freak you out. It's just a market clean as objective. Tesla. So beautiful here. I recommend going to watch that live trading session. A lot of educational stuff in there regarding today's session. So breakdown here on Tesla. Today was a big day. And the reason for that being is, we ended up breaking. I took a trade off the 466.50 right off the pre-market plan. I'll zoom in on the intraday and break that down a little bit more. But since it's been almost a year, since we've had a candle closure above this 466, it's been almost a year. So that being said, coming into tomorrow, what are we looking for? Really that. Either pull back long or break and retest over this 466.50. Why? Because there's nothing in its way if it does. We did really well. We did our job. We avoided all this crap. We avoided all that. We took a couple of shots. They were winning shots, but not really clean continuation and follow through off of 450. And then today, beautiful price action, right? Why? Because we got outside of this channel. That's why we avoid channels, we avoid zones. So today was really a solid day on Tesla. Coming into tomorrow, what we're going to do is really the same game plan as today. I'll zoom in here on the intraday. I took a break and retest off this 466 right around here. I mean, that was textbook. But what do you notice? This 466 did its job. It held. It held. So coming into tomorrow, we're looking for the exact same thing. You're looking for a pullback long off this 466.50, targeting the previous day high, targeting all-time highs. If we fall under this pre-market, you're not looking to short this name. So you're just looking for a break and retest above 466.50, targeting those same key levels, right? Previous day high, all-time highs. And if Tesla, I'm just preparing for every scenario, if Tesla wants to stay heavy and fill all of this thin volume, you're looking for a pullback long off this 450. So today was a solid day. This is no surprise. We push into it. Sellers show up at the top of this range, and the body of the candle closed under 466. So you know what I'm looking for. I always break this down. I'm looking for a daily candle to form above this 466.50, and we get that pullback long off that. So we know we're long bias on the same. Tomorrow, our main key level still is 466.50 on Tesla. NVIDIA. So NVIDIA was an interesting one today. We ended up getting a pretty big push during pre-market here on this name. The reason for that being is it was a news catalyst display, so it ended up jumping 2% pre-market. let me break this down a little bit more thoroughly for you. So really this exact same game plan as it was going into today's session, going into tomorrow on NVIDIA. You're looking for that, you're looking for that, and you're looking for that. Those are all very valid. Now, what did I break down last time? This. Remember, we got this breakout. We never got the retest. You can see this is a key level here. This 195.62. That's a key level there. We got the breakout. Now, what are we waiting for? The retest, right? The trend is your friend. You're just looking for the dip buys. You don't want to enter up here tomorrow. Clearly, right? You're already sitting near all-time highs. Why would you take a break and retest over the previous day high? So tomorrow, you're just going to be patient. Literally same game plan coming into today. Pull back long off of 205.15. Pull back long off of 201. See the visual in these names? It's all, you're just buying the dip buy. All high probability setups. And then if you zoom in here on the 15-minute, you can see today, this 205.15, buyer stepped up very aggressively towards the end of the day and pushed this thing higher at 205.56. So we know this is a key level here. Now, something else that I broke down last week, this happened to us a couple of times, really the last 2 weeks, is when you see market opens and you say, man, this thing went straight up. No, that's not true. We already got the break and retest. Look at the stair step here. We already got the break and retest during the pre-market. That's been happening a lot these last 2 weeks. So when that happens, there's really nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do about it. But that's textbook. I mean, you can clearly see we got the break, retest, stair step, consolidation, stair step higher. That is textbook. So nothing you can do about that when you miss that. But coming into tomorrow, this is valid. I like this. This is a good correlation. Why? It's the previous day low, and it's a 4-hour and now a daily support level. So that's a valid shot. Obviously, if we fall into this, you're not looking to short this name. You would just be looking for your next dip buy opportunity on NVIDIA. So super easy here coming into tomorrow on these 3 names. Lastly, Apple. So Apple's a big one. I mean, I love how Apple's setting up. We know how Apple moves, but Apple's setting up fairly well. Look at the daily, well, I guess it's resistance today, but still a daily support level. This thing is very bullish in the higher time frame. We can clearly see that. I'll zoom out here just a little bit. Look at that. I mean, the market structure here is in play. So daily top followed up by a daily candle closure right under. Next day, body of the candle close right above. We follow that up by pulling back and buyer stepping up, defending this. After earnings, buyer step up on a Friday and defend this. And then today, you can see buyer stepped up very aggressively in the body of the candle close above this 269.10. So very valid level here on Apple. So today, this was on my close watch list as well. If you watched that pre-market live, the live trading session video, you would see that. I was really hoping for this. Let's not forget, I broke this down. We got the breakout of 264.05, but we never got the retest. So I was really hoping we would get that. This is like an A+ setup. I was really waiting for that. Clearly, buyer stepped in very aggressively before we even got that. So coming into tomorrow, that's a valid shot. Targeting this all-time high. Look at the RR here. You would be entering, risking off of 269, and you're targeting 277. That's a really good RR shot. Obviously, I do want that. The deeper the pullback, the better, because we broke this key level, but we never retested it. And then this is your last level of defense. I highly doubt we'll pull back way down here, but we got to prepare. If we do, you can take a long off this 260.10. These are all valid shots. Now, like I've already broke down, you can clearly see this 260.10 is a BOS level, breaker structure, because if we break and retest under that, that is a breaker structure on the daily. I'm comfortable shorting off this level just in case that happens. So today you can see how our key level acted as resistance, support term resistance. We broke, retested that, melted to the downside, but this thing is still bullish on the higher time frame. We're still bullish bias on this name. You can clearly see that. So I'm very comfortable, taking the shot straight up equals straight down. That's a lot of thin volume in there. So we can get over, this 269.10, break and retest, you can target really the previous day high, and then see if, we can fill this thin volume targeting top of this range and all-time highs. So that's pretty much it on my main 3. Fairly an easy week. I don't mean that in an arrogant way as in trading is easy. I mean it as in the only names that I trade is Tesla, NVIDIA, and Apple. So easy because we're only looking at 3 names due to AMD having earnings tomorrow. So we're not even going to look at that until Wednesday. So we're only looking at our main 3, Tesla, NVIDIA, and Apple. So that's the game plan on those names. I'll break down the side watches for other people. Palantir, oh man, this one hurts. It's very unfortunate. I know I broke this down, but it's still in play. Stick with me. All right, stick with me. So you've been hearing me say, this name, don't sleep on it. Do not sleep on it. It's setting up. It's still there. Today, it rallied and made an all-time high. So this thing is still bullish, right? Look at the market structure on this name. Consolidation, next leg higher, consolidation, next leg higher. That's textbook all the way. Now, you remember last week, 2 days in a row, Palantir was on my close watch list, and I was really waiting to take a trade off this weekly 188. For the longest, I said, I'm not touching this name until we break over 188. We were patient. We finally got the break over 188. But you can see here, those 2 days, the body of the candle closed pretty much around the same. Look at the wicks above, look at the wicks below. So it wasn't the cleanest price action. So I wasn't willing to take that risk. But as you always hear me say, if we get a break and retest over a weekly level, I am looking for a potential swing trade. And I knew this was coming. Why? Because history likes to repeat itself, not because I know all or see all. You can see we were trending, consolidation, next leg higher, consolidation, next leg higher. So I seen this coming. And it's over a weekly level, right? Look at all the resistance in here. We fought forever to get above that, and we finally got above. Now, the reason I always say, know the pros and cons to your system. The reason I'm saying this is still setting up. What is the number one most important thing on the break and retest? You should know this by now. Displacement, right? Displacement. This was a break and base and then a continuation. We never got clear displacement. That's a fact. You can see that here on the daily. We never got displacement. So you can see here, we got the breakout. This was the displacement, right? That's a big difference. A break and base and a breakout are 2 different things. So all we did was we broke above our 188, right? Did that, and then we shot higher. So that being said, I'm still waiting for that. That is still a valid shot. That is 100% a valid shot. So I would recommend, marking out an alert at 188 because this thing is still in play. Don't sleep on this name. I've already, drawn it out, but look at the visual here. That's a valid shot here off of 188. And then it's a clear level because we know if we fall under 188, we're back in this channel. So we know we're not even going to touch this if we fall under 188. So If you're still looking to trade this name, right, I mean, this is valid. You could take a long off of 198 targeting all-time highs just because, I mean, that's a good RR. It's 198 you're risking off of and you're targeting 207. You can take that off of this 192, but this 188, don't sleep on that. I'm still waiting for that. Look at how clean that is. I'm still waiting for that. So just be cautious on this name. You know, we're still moving higher. This thing is still in play. Look how extended we are. That's the thing. We've only had one red down close candle on the daily since we broke out of that 188. We've only had one red candle. So I'm still waiting for that retest. This thing is, I want to say it's exhausted, but this thing is still moving. But that is valid. Patient pays, you always hear me say that, so just be patient for that on Palantir. Hood, I'm not going to go into it just because we do have earnings this week, so we're not going to touch this name. But you can clearly see 146.70 being respected. Google is something I do want to break down pretty thoroughly. Just like a lot of other names. Just like a lot of other names. A lot of breakouts, a lot of gap fills, and a lot of thin volume, and a lot of levels that still needs to be retested. So if we go here on Google, we can see we got this gap, and technically we got this gap, right? We ended up making all-time highs. We had earnings. That's clear. But what is something that I'm noticing here on Google? This thing is starting to base up here, so obviously I'm not really comfortable taking a long when we're already near all-time highs. I mean, this is pretty much almost a $9 gap, so it's a good RR. You can look for that tomorrow. This is obviously the better trade, but that is the trade. Why is that? Why is that? Remember, we broke above this, but we never got the retest. We broke above, then we gapped above, and then we had earnings and made all-time highs. So just like Palantir, you know, this name is also very extended. We're just being patient, waiting for the retest. Now, look at this here. This 256.70, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, 7 times we pushed into this level and we couldn't get a daily candle closure above it. We could not. But what happened? We finally broke above it, but we never retested. We can't forget that. So I would recommend, you know, setting an alert here. This is really your A+ long opportunity. Don't forget that. Remember, it's easy to forget these things when a week goes by, 2 weeks go by. But on every time frame, we still wait for the retest. You can get a breakout on the weekly, on the daily, on the monthly. You still gotta wait for the retest. So, you know, this 256.70, this is a key level here that we're gonna be patient for and wait for that. But if you're looking to trade this name, I would recommend just waiting for the pullback long off this 268.30. It's just a better RR trade compared to taking that. You can take that. That's very valid. It's a high probability setup, but the deeper the pullback, the better. AMD, I'm not going to go over this just because it has earnings tomorrow, but we can clearly see our 252.90 being respected on the dot. Love to see it. We're sitting here in a channel now. Sitting here in a channel. We identified that last week, so really good on our end to do that. We identified we're sitting in a channel. But let's zoom out here. Let's zoom out here. Break this down. I just want this to stick, right? I want you to start learning and like understanding this, the market structure. Look at that rally. Consolidation, right? Consolidation, right? Consolidation. That's all we're waiting for. This thing is trending to the upside. Right, consolidation, we get a breakout, consolidation, next leg higher, vice versa. History likes to repeat itself. So seeing this, that is normal. That's all we're waiting for. We'll see what earning does. As we know, news invalidates technical analysis, but we're just going to wait and see what earning does tomorrow after market close, and then Amazon. So I know some people trade this name, and to be honest, just kind of stay hands off. There's really nothing here. There's nothing here. If you really want to trade this name, I would just recommend just waiting, being patient for that. Off this 242.52. This is the previous all-time high. You can clearly see we ended up breaking out of this resistance level. We still need to retest that. But there's a lot of gaps, a lot of thin volume. Just be patient on this name. There's nothing here. Don't get. There's a lot of other names you can trade. Don't force it. There's nothing here. Right? There's nothing here. And like I said, if you take a trade up here, what are you doing? You're already late to the party. So be patient. Nothing here on Amazon. Hope this helps. Right? Hope you were able to have a good Monday. Start the week off clean and green. And let's get after it tomorrow.